Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvelously well. This is by popular demand. Now, we've done a handful of plugin demonstrations with pretty much every company. As you know, we featured Mac DSP in the past, quite often. Colin's a great guy, Waves, lots of plugins I use of theirs. And then one-offs by great companies, Denise Audio. The list is endless. There's one company that I get asked about a lot at the moment, and that is Plug-in Alliance. As you know, we did the SSL 9000J, and we really enjoyed it. And a lot of you did mixes in the Academy, for instance, using it, and really, really loved it. This is a very exciting plugin that we're going to talk about. It is the Amek, or the Amek EQ 200. And this could be, if it's everything that it promises, could be what I will use on my MasterBus now for EQ. So definitely stay tuned for this. And the great thing about it is they're giving 10 of these away. So thank you ever so much, Plug-in Alliance, for doing that. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, so a couple of things. People always ask me about how we're doing this. When we're doing the mixing in the box, things like this, we use an Audient ID44. The reason why we do that, and I use the blue headphones as well, even though I have many different ones. The reason why we use this is because we are just emulating what most people use. I do have a beautiful SSL behind me, which I use a lot, mixing in a hybrid fashion with incredible plugins through the console and kind of, marriage of both things. But so many people now are mixing exclusively in the box. Some of the biggest mixers in the world are mixing entirely in the box. It doesn't make consoles obsolete, but it makes you think very differently. So why am I bringing this all up? Well, Plug-in Alliance, if you notice with the SSL 9000J plugin they did, have this technology. What do they call it? They call it TMT, Tolerance Modeling Technology. I had to read that if you saw me looking over there. What is that? Well, it allows them to not just maybe take a channel of EQ or a channel of a mic pre or compression or whatever it is, and then model it. That's great. They model infinite amounts. So like on the SSL 9000J, I can't remember how many it was. It was at least 72 channels. It may have been higher than that. So one thing we love about analog is its randomness. And one thing we love about digital is its perfection. So when you can sort of bring that and pick and choose that analog imperfection inside of digital, you're on to a pretty amazing winner. So this Amek EQ 200 has that function, and that is down here. So we got the stereo mode here, and it's got an A button and a D button. So the A is the analog modeling. And what that means is it means that one channel on the left here will be a different model to the one on the right. In a perfect stereo bus world, you're probably thinking, why would you want to do that? Well, in my console, each of these channels is different. Definitely my master left and right busters. And those little tiny idiosyncrasies, those little tiny characteristics, those little random wrong things give it personality. Their incorrectness actually creates more width, creates more depth, does weird things that we absolutely love. And the fact that they've gone to those lengths, even on just a stereo EQ, is huge. Okay, firstly, let's look at the stereo EQ. It's freaking gorgeously, simply laid out. For me, that's a plug-in EQ. Above here, you see we have very GML-looking EQs. And for those of you who have ever mixed with George Massenburg's EQs, they are considered some of the finest ever made. I know many, with a capital M, many A-level A-list mixers that have a pair of GML EQs on their MasterBus. To this day, they are considered to be the best sounding, most, I suppose, neutral. That's probably the wrong word. They just essentially are freaking awesome sounding and very, very accurate. Something you could trust to put on your MasterBus. So that's beautiful. Underneath is the SONTEC style EQs. Now, last time I looked at a pair of GMLs, for instance, online, they were going for around about $4,500 to $5,000 for a pair. And these are modeled. Below the SONTECs, last time I looked at one of those, a pair of those for a mastering studio, $30,000. I mean, they're incredible machines. So what they've done is they've created a plugin modeling all the best attributes of that. I can't tell you it's exactly that, but it is modeling the attributes of those two incredible EQs. Okay, so that's all the hyperbole. Let's have a look at some of the things that make this really special. So what I've done is I've put this on a mix, and it's a mix of a song that I did called Numb Me Up. Let's just listen to the EQ off, end of a verse going into a chorus.
War after war with me. Numb me up, dumb me down, baby, shut me up, steal the truth, hate me, I'll be yours till I die, till I die, till I die crazy, pull me in, drag me down.
That's a board mix, pretty good. Let's just use this as either for my mix bus or frankly for mastering. This is going to be a very, very versatile. I'm already feeling it. Okay, obviously, high and low pass filter here. And as you see, once you grab it, it starts at 30 hertz, which of course is only bats can hear on a rotary control there. And you can turn it on and off, so you could set it somewhere and then, can you automate it on and off? Yep. Okay, so you could turn it on and off, you could automate it. So if you wanted to do something fun on your MasterBus and skinny it down, make it go big, there it is. So you can automate those functions. High pass there, of course, starting at 20, going all the way up. And at the moment, if you're noticing, I'll turn this, look over to the right-hand side. This is linked. And I can take the link function off over here on the parameter link. And now it is no longer linked. So if you look over to the left here and watch the right-hand side over here, it's not linked anymore. But we want to link it. We're going to use it on a stereo bus. There's a mono maker here, which is just freaking genius for low end. How many times have we talked to mastering engineers that say that they're given stuff to master for vinyl and they have to make the low end mono because you can't have a stereo out of phase bass sound? I know there's some wonderful DAWs like Logic who have a stereo bass sound that goes wom, wom, wom. Amazing, like this pumping stereo bass sound. Well, somebody gave me something to mix with that in years ago, and all it is the bass line exactly out of phase. So it sounds like it's coming out the left and the right. Try putting that on vinyl. The stylus will just flop out. So mastering engineers have that function. So that immediately is massive. Also, for width, when you want to have width on left and right, if you bring the low lows out of the left and right and make them feel more centered, it feels wider. I'll just play a bit of the track. I'll just sweep through it. That's pretty huge. When I go to 116 and below, everything just feels tighter in the middle. Sides feel a little bit wider to me. It's really good for the bass. The bass tends to feel far more focused in that center there. So that's a great technique there. You know what? We'll bring it up just a little bit, about 110-ish there. Now, we have the stereo width control here. Let's have some fun with this. I don't normally play with width stuff, but I want to see what it does. It's pretty remarkable. If you've got like one of those massively like slammed, limited metal or EDM tracks where everything is just squashed and in your face, that could be a lifesaver. Both of these things here for mastering could be a lifesaver, because sometimes I get stuff that is so slammed, there's no way I feel like I can really create any kind of width or dynamics or anything. Now I can mono my low end and I can start throwing stuff a little bit wider. On a track like this, it's sort of, I don't know if I'd go that wide. I don't know if I need to, because it's already wide enough for me, but I'm enjoying it. It's really helping those backgrounds feel like they're creating more room for the lead vocal. Those crang guitars now just feel like they're a little bit more sparkly. Really fantastic. Okay, so two little things there I'm already enjoying. There's also total harmonic distortion here, output gain, input gain, of course, which is really important if this is in a mastering chain and you're putting in compression, etc., and limiting. You might want to, just crank it a little bit more up so it hits the threshold on your compressor where you want it to be, because you might be using an analog emulated compressor that just sounds just right when it's just hit a little bit harder. So many mastering engineers put hardware on their MasterBus and then just hit it a little bit harder and just drive into that equipment a little bit. It is amazing how people will do stuff like that just to get the sound of the transformers or the tubes or the electronics in general in their pieces of gear. So we can sort of emulate that. Let's try the total harmonic distortion. Let's crank it and see how it sounds. It's just starting to like fold in quite nicely, really, really cranked up. So it obviously looks like it's not, unless we probably did something like this. All right, trying to get these levels pretty equal. It's too much. I'm overdoing it, but it's there if you want to take something that's boring sounding, is that right kind of word? Something that doesn't have any pizzazz to it and just kind of smash it a little bit harder. So I don't need to do it. I feel like this ran through the console. It's already got some grit, already got some stuff. But in this analog mode, just to reiterate, I've got a different left channel than I do so I've got channel 1 and channel 2. If I go to digital now, I've got exactly the same, completely equal digital modeled EQs. God, I swear blind, it's subtle. I want you to listen to it. I'm going to do it one more time. I swear blind, I can hear the difference when I press the button with my eyes closed. I had to check to see where I clicked it. I was making sure that when I opened my eyes, I hadn't actually not clicked it. I'm going to put it back on digital for the time being. Both works. Here's the thing I'm most excited. We're on the parameter link. If I hit in this auto listen mode here, which was already on, but I'll do it again, I can set an EQ point. So let's go, like, I don't know, 60-ish, where, as you can see, I'm grabbing the right one, it's controlling the left. I can grab the left and control the right. So, I'm just going to, put it, about 60, 58, say. Not listing anything. Haven't boosted or cut anything yet. Let's go to just a little bit over 80, 90. So that'd be kick area for the first one, bass guitar for the second one. Let's go into somewhere like 350 where it can get a little ugly in those low mids. We'll go around about, it says 364. That would be good. I'm going to go all the way up to, 12K here. Okay. I'm doing this for a reason. You'll hear in a minute. And then the mid-range, just go where it is really sensitive, like 3.5K, somewhere between 3 or 4K. Okay, so I've set all those points. Listen to the track, and now I'm going to press down on it and hold it with the auto-listen function on. Is it off?
down, baby.
It's genius. Absolutely fantastic. So now I can isolate those areas. So when I go down to about 40 hertz there, that's just the kick. So now I could maybe do a little bit of a boost here. And what I love about these EQs, that's so cool. So I can go to a shelf, and then I can adjust the Q really tight all the way over here. Beautiful. So on 40 hertz there now, I'm just getting that low on the kick. Obviously, I'm boosting it like crazy, but how cool is that for mastering that I can just solo those frequencies there? So now I'm doing like 1.1. There's a bit of a build-up on the kick drum there, which I don't like. Interesting. If I go below 80, I'm getting more low end on the bass. It feels like the bass at about 70 is like, that's where all of the boom, 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 boom. So if I was remixing that, I would try to shelve it up a little bit higher. When I got up to about 100, I was getting quite a lot of kick drum. Immediately a great tool. A great tool for mix decisions. This is awesome. And then if I flick the switch in, oh, that's so good. It goes between 7 dB and 15 dB. So that's a quick way here because I've only got 1.1. If I click that in, now it's just 0.5. So I could just do a quick incremental test to see what it would like if it would be half as much of a boost. So smart. This is going to be a fantastic tool for me. This could be living on my MasterBus. Before. After. Now, you know me, I'm not a top-down mix guy. You know, I have EQs when I'm mixing through the console on real Pultecs, a bit of 60 boosted on there, a bit of 10, 12K boosted on there to give me a little bit of boom and fizz. I'm probably not going to do a huge amount more than that. I did go crazy on the 12K here and probably deafening some people depending on what they're listening to. I'll bring it down now. It's pretty harsh, but I just wanted to hear it. The point is like, I've been experimenting with different tools to show people how to get stuck in and find issues in your mix. This might be the simplest version I've heard of it. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not a cheap plugin. They are having a sale on it in the moment, but it's not cheap. However, it's a snizzle ton of research and it just sounds good.
Tell me down, baby, shut me down.
want to mono the bass more and then crank it a bit more. I've always been afraid of MasterBus plugins. I just have. There's something about growing up mixing on consoles. I mean, when I first started, I had ADATs and a soundtracks console in my home studio about 25 years ago. The studio I had before that was 4 tracks. And when I was working at a friend's studio in England, we had a 1-inch 24 track with another soundtracks console. You know, we were spoiled. We'd have some nice, compressors, a couple of nice EQs, nothing really, really super expensive. But then when I finally got to, make records in, traditional, expensive, great studios, they'd have GML EQs. They would have Focusrite Red first generation compressors, which everybody loves. They would have SSL bus compressors. They would have Neve 33609s. And there were these beautiful pieces of hardware that you put Fairchilds. You would put on the MasterBus. And then you'd pull out either GML, like I was saying earlier, or a pair of Pultecs, and you'd do a little pizzazz, you know what I mean? You'd flick off all the compressors and all the EQs, and you'd bring them on, and you'd just balance it. And you would just be like super happy. And then, out of necessity and the way the world is, mixing more in the box, I just started to get kind of burned sticking on a pair of headphones and pulling up different EQs. And frankly, and call me superstitious, if I pull up a generic EQ, which might sound good on my electric guitar, and there's a stereo version of it, I can't stand the idea of sticking it on my mix bus. I would never put my mix back through a pair of channels. I've done it to trash it out. I did it with Joe Perry's song, Man of Peace, for Amnesty International. We wanted to trash it out, so we put the mix back through a pair of faders on my old Neve and crushed it, and then fed it back in underneath and just parallel distorted it. But as fantastic as that sound, I'm very, very nervous about using plugins on a MasterBus. I just am. I'm not nervous about this. I'm not. This feels like somebody has designed something for your mix bus. I love the simple function of being able to solo it. And you've noticed recently I've been talking about how to teach mixing. And one of the things I talk about with teaching mixing is being able to solo EQs and stuff and find problems. I've found a problem in the low end. This is not the final mix, but it doesn't matter. It could still be, it's a work in progress, but it still is an indicator that the low end wasn't yet properly sorted out. When I soloed the bass area here, which is set to 80, come up a little bit higher. I'm hearing a lot of thump, thump from the kick. I shouldn't be. I should be hearing more boom, boom, boom bass. Yes, 100 from a kick is not a problem, but a build-up and too much of it is a problem. It kills my bass guitar. So, even though this is not the final mix, it doesn't matter. This is the tool. I'm soloing it. I'm listening to it. And then I go back through here and I go, oh, there's some build-up on there. Notch out a little bit of that area on the kick drum, on the group of the kick drums, and then just let the bass. I mean, what a really, really great tool for mixing low end. Get yourself a pair of headphones with a decent low end and do that. Just do it. Really amazing. Really, really amazing. This is a great plugin. This will be on future in-the-box mixes. I feel like I can trust it. I love what they've been modeling. I like how they got there. Their 9000J was a great revelation. Many, many of you bought them, sent me mixes to listen to inside of the Academy using it, and I really liked how much it sounded like a real SSL. You could hear that thwack that that pop, pop sound that you hear on the snare and the attack on guitars. They really captured that well. This is an amalgamation of a couple of incredible pieces of equipment, and it sounds wonderful, and it's got features that I want. And it's really simple. It's really simple. So we're in really good times at the moment, aren't we? We're in really, really great times. We've got all of this modeling going on. We've got people thinking about what we really need. Like some of those reverbs and delays I've been trying out recently that just are like a simple reverb that does 18 different jobs or something, rather than like 18 different or 100 different reverb sounds and you're scrolling through all these reverbs trying to find the one you like. They just give you a reverb that sounds good and then you can mess with it and do different things to it. This is that same philosophy. This is like a plugin that does the features that we want. The fact that we can solo and listen to the band that we're cutting and boosting is not only good for a mastering or a final mix thing, but most importantly for me, going in and just checking areas and making sure there's not too much low mid build up at about 350, that the bass and the kick have enough separation in them. Remarkable. Bravo. Really, really nice plugin. And, of course, thank you, Brainworx. Thank you, Plugin Alliance. 10 copies. This is a retail $400 plugin. Thank you. Giving away 10 copies. It is apparently on sale at the moment, and you can get a bit more off the price. But enter to win. I don't think you'll be sorry if you buy this for your MasterBus. There's plenty of great plugins and great gear out there. This is not one that you would be disappointed to have on your MasterBus. And I love the idea of a dedicated, high-quality mixing or mastering EQ. Great work. Entered to win. Thank you ever so much. If you've already used this or you get it or something, let me know. Let me know how you get on with this. I'm really impressed. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. See you all again very, very soon.